Have you ever wondered which countries are considered the most corrupt in the world? Where government officials abuse their power for personal gain instead of serving the people? Well, get ready to find out as we explore the 20 most corrupt nations according to recent reports. Brace yourself for some shocking revelations. Before we dive in, let's define what we mean by corruption. Corruption is the abuse of power for personal gain. It can take many forms, like bribery, embezzlement, nepotism, and misuse of public funds. Essentially, it's when those in positions of authority put their interests ahead of the people they're supposed to serve. The Corruption Perceptions Index. To rank the most corrupt countries, we'll be using Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index (CPI). This index scores countries from 0 to 100, with 0 being highly corrupt and 100 being very clean. The lower the score, the more corrupt the country is perceived to be. Number 20. Honduras. Kicking off our list at number 20 is Honduras. This Central American nation scored a dismal 23 out of 100 on the 2022 CPI, placing it among the most corrupt countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. Systemic corruption has deprived the government of funds that could have been invested in essential services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Number 19. Azerbaijan. Next up is Azerbaijan, scoring a 23 on the 2023 CPI. Corruption in this oil-rich nation is deeply rooted, with the ruling elites enriching themselves and engaging in extensive lobbying efforts abroad. The infamous Azerbaijani laundromat scandal, involving $2.9 billion paid to foreign politicians and elites, is a prime example of the country's corruption challenges. Number 18. Sudan. Sudan scored a measly 22 on the 2022 CPI, highlighting the widespread issues of bribery, nepotism, and misuse of power. The economy and government operations are heavily influenced by corruption, creating a challenging environment for both citizens and businesses. Efforts to combat corruption have been limited, with few concrete actions taken. Number 17. Eritrea. Eritrea, once considered relatively corruption-free, has seen a notable rise in corruption since the late 1990s. Factors like border conflicts, concentration of power, and increased state control over the economy have contributed to the growth of corruption. The regime has used anti-corruption campaigns to suppress dissent rather than genuinely address the issue. Number 16. Republic of the Congo. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, corruption has been an institutionalized part of the state for years. However, recent court cases have shed light on the staggering amounts of embezzlement by top officials. In 2020, the president's chief of staff was sentenced to 20 years for embezzling nearly $50 million, while a 2021 investigation targeted former President Joseph Kabila and his associates for alleged embezzlement of $138 million. Number 15. Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's public sector is regarded as the most corrupt in the country, according to a survey commissioned by Transparency International. The police, political parties, and civil servants are among the most corrupt entities, with bribery and favoritism being commonplace. In 2008, it was estimated that Zimbabwe lost $5 million to corruption every day, a staggering amount for a struggling economy. Number 14. Chad. Chad's corruption is characterized by nepotism, cronyism, and bribery in the public services. The judicial system is heavily influenced by the government, and businesses often have to pay bribes to influence judicial decisions. Public works conducted by the government have also been criticized for lacking transparency and involving high levels of corruption. Number 13. Nicaragua. In Nicaragua, corruption is a growing problem for doing business. Facilitation payments are often demanded from authorities when conducting commercial activities, and the government shows favoritism towards well-connected companies. The Ortega regime has consolidated power, limited fundamental freedoms, and allowed unchecked corruption to pervade the government. Number 12. Turkmenistan. Corruption in Turkmenistan is a serious issue, with the country near the bottom of several annual indices that measure corruption. Bribery is commonplace, even for everyday necessities like education and medicine. Financial disclosure requirements are neither transparent nor consistent with international norms, and government enterprises are not required to publicize financial statements. Number 11. Comoros. The Comoros made headlines with a passport sales scheme that saw former President Abdallah Sambi and a businessman embezzle more than $45 million from a citizenship by investment program. Passports were sold through unofficial channels to any individual at the right price, with no money going towards the country's development. Number 10. North Korea. The government of North Korea is one of the most dishonest governments in the world. Dishonesty spreads from the top leaders all the way to the lowest levels of people who work for the government. Officials often take bribes, and the leaders are deeply involved in illegal money activities abroad like cybercrime, false insurance claims, making fake money, and selling drugs. Number 9. Burundi. Dishonesty is very spread out and normal in Burundi. The party in power uses dishonesty to keep control. Not enough rules and accepting bribes make it hard for programs against dishonesty to work. Loyalty is more about friends and families than following the rules of organizations, making people lose trust in important groups. Number 8. Haiti. Haiti has one of the highest dishonesty rates worldwide, making it tough to set up the rule of law and long-lasting democracy. Years of unsettled politics hurt public money and rule following. The country struggles to rebuild after natural disasters like the 2010 earthquake. Number 7. Libya. Dishonesty remains a big issue in Libya, with taking bribes and favoritism being common practices across different areas. The public money spending sector and the oil industry are especially affected. Unfair competition from state-owned groups makes the situation worse. Efforts to fight dishonesty in Libya are key to bringing transparency and steady development. Number 6. Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea has been called an almost perfect theft system, where a small powerful group controls the government and moves most of the country's money into their own secret bank accounts abroad. Despite huge oil reserves, the nation's wealth is focused in the hands of an elite few, while most citizens live in poverty. Number 5. Yemen. Yemen, the poorest country in the Middle East, ranks as the most dishonest country on the Arabian Peninsula. Dishonesty spreads widely, leaving many folks feeling they have no power. Not having strong oversight and accountability allows dishonesty to spread in both public and private spaces, leading to weak leadership and poor services in areas like energy, communication, health, and education. Number 4. Venezuela. Dishonesty runs deeply in Venezuela, affecting many levels of society. The government has cracked down on reporters to control free speech, while drug dealing spreads widely, with former President Hugo Chavez being accused in it. The economy and government operations are strongly guided by dishonesty, making it tough for both citizens and businesses. Number 3. Syria. In Syria, dishonesty uses familiar guidelines of dishonesty by the state. Government officials misuse their political power for private gain. The public sector is seen as highly dishonest, with taking bribes being common even in critical areas like the military and the diplomatic groups. Efforts to fight dishonesty are limited, and the country's plans against dishonesty are still starting up. Number 2. South Sudan. South Sudan faces a deeply rooted lack of responsibility, fueling armed conflict, oppressed actions, and human rights violations. The aid community faces attacks affecting aid workers and relief efforts. The government's lacking trust further erodes confidence in important groups, while the fight against dishonesty remains an ongoing challenge. Number 1. Somalia. Topping our list of the most dishonest countries in the world is Somalia. Dishonesty affects ports, airports, tax and customs collection, immigration, telecommunications, and managing aid resources. Addressing dishonesty remains a critical challenge for Somalia, needs focused efforts to bring transparency, responsibility, and good governance. Dishonesty is a global issue that breaks down the very fabric of society, eroding trust in groups and limiting economic growth and development. While the countries on this list face big challenges, it's important to remember change is possible. By raising awareness, bringing transparency, and holding leaders responsible, we can work towards a world where dishonesty is no longer allowed. If you found this eye-opening look at global dishonesty informative, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel for more helpful material. Let us know which examples of dishonesty surprised you most in the comments below. Thanks for watching.